What's up? We're going to be taking a look at the little perp walk Trump at the UFC, and in particular, how he used 𝗙𝗓, his granddaughter. It's got her right up front. Again, this is part of this theme that we've been seeing from Trump and Elon, using their kids or their grandkids as human shields. It's a big part of how they cover up their nefarious behavior. But here in the UFC, Kai had a much different role. You know, there's the whole saying about blood being thicker than water, but I think it's really important to point out that in Trump's world, even the loyalty is disposable. He is so transactional, even family will be sacrificed for the brand. You enjoy the video, you know what to do. Please hit that like button, drop a sub, and turn those noties on. You may have noticed they're using 𝗙𝗓. They're featuring 𝗙𝗓, the teenage girl, which is really big because, you know, Donald Trump is definitely in with the Epstein set. So they're using 𝗙𝗓 featuring her. They're appealing to the video gamer, UFC, Logan Paul, Aiden Ross fans, trying to radicalize young men. But let's go ahead and see their little thing. But they're just all, it's like all content creation now.
Right now to a standing ovation, the 47th president of the United States of America, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White and others, Donald J. Trump.
Is there anybody else that has a walk-in other than a fighter? I mean, he has some music, Kid Rock starts playing.
He had one at the NCAA tournament too. He always gets a walkout. It's like a prerequisite.
You'll notice though, see, here's the problem. They have 𝗙𝗓 there though. She is just food for their fucking, you know, questionable morals of these guys. Aside from the obvious weirdness and degeneracy of them throwing 𝗙𝗓 out there in this predatory environment, win over the manosphere, Kai didn't choose this. Yes, as a teenager, she wants to be there, but I'm talking about the deeper level of her not quite realizing she was born into this machine that is the Trump brand. And believe me, Trump values his brand over all. His family are just more props. Trump's power grabbing machine that needs constant sacrifices. And now she's up on the altar. Does she know? She doesn't care, right? She's getting fame. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. America, we're in the shitter right now. But dude, she gets fame and a ton of money and a ton of adoration. But yeah, so she is like, I mean, think about how much power she has, right? Compared to a normal 17-year-old girl. She's like the queen of UFC. Like, eventually she'll be able to walk into UFC without Donald Trump, and that whole crowd will be going nuts about her. And so she's fueling her whole career, right? I don't think she cares. I think these people just want money and power and fame, and they don't fucking care about anything else, right? They're not worried about like, oh, nepo. They love being nepo. They can be nepo. We can't, right? They get to be nepo. To them, nepo is like they're the in club. Okay, that means they get everything for nothing, and we fucking schlep around our whole lives and break our backs for shit, and we'll never have what they have. So I think they love being nepo because it's like they were born into a special club that everybody else just wishes they were in. Although I would not want to be in this family, dude. If Trump was my dad, I would be the fucking. The black sheep of the family for sure.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Another pattern in the Trump family, and specifically about Trump himself, that it's always the same. If you're not 100% useful, you're gone. Trumpy! Oh, I have no use for you anymore. You're out. And I mean, this applies to everyone, and I mean everyone. You may remember in his first term, he brought in Ivanka because of all the craziness around his grab him by the pussy comments. He brought in his daughter to legitimize him, make him seem more stable. But you notice she's not around anymore either. Once he was done with her, even she got pushed out. And another thing I want to point out is how there is definitely a difference between the male role and the female role in the Trump family. Because you will notice that while Kai or the granddaughter at the NASCAR event that get offered up sacrifices to that power machine. They don't do it with the boys. Melania has been very careful to sequester Barron in New York City, keep him out of the limelight. She's been very protective of him. And for the most part, she does not allow him to get used in the Trump spectacle at all. And that's a really interesting point.
Making the entrance right now to a standing ovation, the 47th president of the United States of America, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White and others, Donald J. Trump.
There we go. Donald J. Trump. Dude, that is a lot of rape culture. Dude. Now, look at this. You ready? We got Donald J. Trump getting glazed by a bunch of Chads going into the Chad realm while pimping out his his granddaughter and making sure she's like front and center in his little rape culture bro sphere. Okay, now, meanwhile, he's trying to ship American citizens and people he doesn't like with no due process to an El Salvadorian, terrorist center, maximum security prison. MAGA told you it was about family values. That's what they said this whole thing was about. The entire Republican Party has clung to that concept. Now we know, like everything else in Trump land, it's just another lie. It was always about obedience. It was always about Trump getting more power, exercising more control, and nothing is sacred. Even family's going to end up on that altar if it gets Trump what he wants. We have the dumbasses in charge, bro. That's what it is. Like, that's literally what it is. I mean, dude, coming out of the gaming industry, here's what it feels like, guys. It feels like 5 years ago, I was a gamer that was blowing up. But the world was like, the gamers were not in charge. They were a group that had been known as like using the N-word and saying really toxic anti-LGBTQ stuff. But we just didn't do that anymore. And they berated women, but we stood up for the women. And rapists were going to jail and all that shit. And now, somehow in 5 years, those gamer bros have infiltrated the White House. And now the president is a rapist and an N-word user and a degenerate racist piece of trash that has emboldened all of the shittiest aspects of male existence and the manosphere and the broligarchy and all that. And now they're in the White House. And it's fucking depressing, bro. I mean, it's not going to last. We're certainly not going back to that mentality long term. It's just not going to happen. There's just too many young women that are getting educated, deeply educated, and they're not going to go back to being fucking stay-at-home moms. Okay, young women are going to college and getting degrees at a rate far higher than men. And so pretty soon, 15 years from now, a lot of those bro manosphere guys, unless they get rich trading crypto or whatnot, they're not going to be qualified to compete with the people with the higher education and shit. Where are they going to be 20 years from now? When those girls that are going to college that are going to end up being their bosses. They're not realizing this, right? While they're enjoying their little like manosphere victory, but they're not developing themselves. Like when this passes, they're going to be stuck and sort of left behind because young men aren't going to college at nearly the rate. And there's, Trump is not going to bring a lot of opportunity for young non-college educated men. What are you going to do? You're going to be a coal miner? You're going to fucking go work construction, which is fine. Those are fine jobs, but those jobs have limitations on how far they go for 90% of the people who have them. Working construction is a good paying job, compared to working in a library. But the problem is if you work construction for 20 years, you're going to be making about the same amount you were making at year 20 that you were at year 2. And the only difference is you're going to have a lot more damage to your body and you may have a pill habit by then. But they're not those types of jobs unless you own unless you're the general contractor, those jobs don't have a lot of advancement. Carpenters, they don't. They don't. That's why people stopped taking those jobs and why they started filling them with immigrants, because immigrants were coming over that were skilled carpenters. When we go back to this, guys, see, this is the part that's really complicated, because we watched the UFC thing. We talked about Donald Trump. He's walking in there with his devout sort of MAGA cult fans. He's out there, whatever, doing his little Trumpy UFC thing. And he's like totally going in on this bro culture. Now that Trump is bringing Kai into his little win over the manosphere, you do have to take a second and see that in addition to Trump using her as a carrot he's dangling in front of these fans, trying to radicalize that next generation of young men, he's also using the men. With Trump, everything is transactional. MAGA says it's about loyalty, it's about family, about the culture of their movement. But inside that Trump machine, it is only about Trump, his massive ego, his needs, his power, and whoever can help him get it, where even blood is just part of the branding. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.